Hello, respected investors, shareholders, and all stakeholders. We from Group 9, and we are presenting Movie Studio Project. I'm Thananan Thanawutruchanan, the project team managers, with the following team members. Pak Hong is in charge of stakeholder and analysis and communication plan. Lokeshwaran in charge of proposed justification and duration. Jonathan in charge of budget. Matthew in charge of description and list.
Hello everyone, I'm Lokeshwaran Magesh and I'll be talking about the project purpose and the justification. Firstly, I'll be explaining the current scenario that the project attempts to address, such as difficulties, challenges, possibilities, improvements, and so on, and mainly the purpose of why the project. Secondly, to highlight the project's output and its consequences and advantages. And this is deduced by using the Ping-Bok guide and by utilizing the OOP approach. So firstly, Ping-Bok guide defines a project as a temporary endeavor to create a unique product or a service. A project is a time bound, i.e., it has an indefinite beginning and a definite beginning and a definite ending. And we chose movie studio as a project because in today's world, entertainment is one of the leading industries. This industry has had a lot of different changes over the years to meet people's needs. That surge in popularity in film and TV content delivered over the internet was a bright spot that caused the dominance of the industry. Cinema saw an unprecedented 70% decline in 2020 due to the COVID-19 pandemic, which caused the entire industry to rethink the approach. People now have access to more forms of entertainment in ways to enjoy it than ever before. This is due to the part of advances in technology, which has allowed the development of new and innovative ways to experience entertainment, such as OTT platform, where you can watch anything in the world with a touch of a button. In the coming years, and media and entertainment will continue to evolve quickly, not only reckoning with outgoing trends, but with disruptions with the industry. Next, from the existing situation, from building a movie studio, what outcome and output does it bring? Using the OOP method, we were able to deduce several outcomes and benefits from the output. A primary main output here is that the projects is to provide intangible service of a film studio outfitted with the state-of-the-art technology with a focus on low-budget films. Now, why low-budget films? Low-budget films are the ones with enormous capabilities of success, but are only withheld by their budget issues. So, what are the outcomes from the output? Better movies and series are produced with the best visual experience and concepts that are captured into versatile creations on lower budgets. Young directors and artists are offered the chance to make their visions into realities, which brings better movies to the audience. And the benefits from these outcomes are numerous, such as local employment opportunities, contribution to local business associations, and providing community improvements, increased economic activity, and investments.
Hi, my name is Matthew, and I'll be talking about the high-level project description. Now, here we have four different factors that we have to take into account for our movie studio, which is the main output. First is equipment, and we have a camera, 4K filming, camera lenses, which are wider studio angles and stronger close-up, so 2 different lenses there, as well as the standard lens. We have microphones and a multitude of lights. We have like key light, 3-dimension lights, backlights, and many more. And of course, we have green screen for CGI and high-spec computers for post-production. Next is the studio size. Now, for the studio size, we have dimensions of 12 feet by 18 feet. And overall floor space would be 7,000 to 8,000 square feet. Now, for location, we have a low budget for Chinatown and Sentosa for the high budget movies. And for functions, we have diverse editing tools, including multicam editing, around 1,500 effects, transitions, titles, and professional image stabilization. Detailed color correction, shot match, and film looks, 8K Ultra HD support, plus HIDPI program interface. So all this high-spec tools and facilities, so movie makers can really get the best out of their ideas. And next, we have the continuation of high-level project description. Here we have 2 pictures. One is a rough an image of what the outside would roughly look like. So it's just a really big, boring building. And while the inside here, we have an example of like the green screen, the lighting, camera crew, a set. So this is them just filming a movie. I'm not sure what movie, but this is just an example of what it would look like inside while a movie is being made. Next is the high-level project risk. Now for this part, I've identified 5 different risks with 5 different consequences to them. Now, the first risk is supply chain issues and poor project management, which would lead to delays. And the consequence of that is pushing back the delivery date on the project. So, delay in the schedules would make the project, and take a few more days, which is slower. Next is natural disasters and poor weather conditions. Now, these are external risks, so something that we can't really control, but it might happen, which would lead to increased risk of injury and severe damage and subsequent project delays. Because of the injury risk, we might have to stop the work, stop the construction for the safety of our workers. Next would be faulty equipment, untrained workers, and safety hazards. Now, the risk for this is work adjacent and work accidents and injuries and construction defect. Obviously, with hopefully this doesn't happen, but if an injury happens, then we have to pay for the insurance, which might even rise the rates and increase more cost, as well as our project manager might gain some stress, which is not ideal. Next is an unexpected increase in material costs. Now, this is something that we cannot really predict. It might happen, it might not. And if this happens, obviously, we have to increase our budget, and it's a financial risk. Obviously, it'll lead to project delays. And then because of this increase in price, we might choose lower quality equipment and materials, which would lead to, a poorer quality building. And next is the low availability, high demand, which is for materials, which is related to the fourth topic, the fourth risk. Obviously, this would be productivity risks and labor shortages, and the consequence would be difficulty resourcing projects to meet project timeline and budget issues.
Now we're moving on to the project scope. We came up with the breakdown structure.
For the movie studio, there are 6 components: movie studio design, movie studio construction, movie studio fittings and fixtures, movie studio placement, and the inspection and certification. For the movie studio design, there are movie studio blueprint to show the whole structure, the whole design, the whole plan of our movie studio, and the building permits and approvals. The movie studio construction, there are building foundation, which means we are building the movie studio from the scratch, not lent from any other existing place. Movie warehouses 1 and 2, and the parking lots. Movie studio fittings and fixtures. There are camera and computer systems, the lighting and the movie scenes. Movie studio placement. There are interior warehouses to make sure every place inside the warehouse already set to get ready for the making movie. And the exterior warehouses, make sure we have the good landscaping or the environment around our warehouse area. The last one, inspection and certification. There are fire and safety and the tile run. We're moving to the next slide.
So now we're going to talk about high-level project stakeholder analysis. As we can see that we're using a matrix to help us to explain the situation. So the vertical line represents interest and the horizontal line represents the power. And first of all, as we can see that the government is at the top left corner, because government, they have a high degree of power and to monitor the companies to ensure that they are not pushing the loss, while they don't need to generate much profits, just like the private corporates. Here at the top right corners, we can see that it's a project sponsor and film producing companies. They generate high profits, but then also like they have a final say about the project. So their influence towards the project is very huge. And the development of the project actually associated with these two parties. And as we can see that for the exhibitor, They have low degree of power and also low degree of interest at the same time, because they do not have final says about anything about the project, and they also generate very limited money from the project itself. So they are more like the supporting roles, as we can see that. In the bottom right corner, we can see that it's the contractors, suppliers, distributors, architects, and also the residents. Because they generate high amounts of profits, yet they do not have much to say about the profit itself. So they do not have a final say about the project. Their influence when it comes to power is very low, because they need to listen to the project sponsor and film producing companies. So in general, their interests are very high. Let's talk about the high-level communication management plan. It requires consistent communication to reduce the risk of miscommunication, so this is very important. First of all, is the residents in the community. The information should be about the project progress. Methods is through the social media or Facebook page, and timing or frequency should be around monthly, because it's the best period of time. The best timing for the public to know about the progress of the movie studio. The center should be the public relations, because that's what they are specializing in. And secondly, is the suppliers. The information should be about delivery schedule. A method should be through email. And the timing of frequency should be 1 month before delivery, so that they have time to prepare the supplies for the company itself. So it's actually similar to distributor. It's in the bottom, like it's in the second last row. So you can see the distributor, the information is distribution agreement documents, and the methods is to email face-to-face, because it's the fastest method. And the time of frequency should be 4 months before distribution, to give them time to prepare for what they are going to distribute. And then after that, for the government, it should be the law-related documents for project approval. And the methods is to email, because there are many confidential files, so email should be the safest and fastest way to deliver the messages. Timing of frequency should be half year before the project, because usually it takes time for the government to process the information and execute it. So for the investors, it should be about the financial statement. Method should be through email and financial report. And the timing of frequency should be each quarter, because in the market, usually they will update the financial statement every 3 months, which is a quarter. So in order to synchronize with the financial market, you should follow up. The timing should be same as the market flow, which is each quarter, every 3 months. And then for architects, the information should be structure of the studio, and the method should be to email or face-to-face. Timing of frequency should be weekly before the project, and started, and every day when the project started. It is because the structure of the studio, right, may change every day as it's a big project, so specific attention has to be put. People need to aware of some of the small changes in order to reduce the risk of disputing the studio, as well as generating the best interest, and also like do for the best for the music studio, and to exercise its maximum potential. So that's why some of the minor changes may need to be made. So that's why, as I mentioned, they should keep in touch with each other every day. And the center should be the project manager. And for the contractors, the information should be material used, structure of the studio, as well as the progress. Method should be through face-to-face, because it's the most direct method to communicate and to reduce the risk of miscommunications. The timing of frequency should be weekly for actual checking, daily for general checking up, and the center should be the production team. It is because, right, for the contractors, they either ensure that the contractors are not using some other materials that are not supposed to be used, or need to ensure that the contractors are following up the progress, they're in progress, and also needs to ensure that the contractors, they're not getting lazier, or to ensure that nothing illegal is going on among the contractors, because contractors is usually from the third parties, so sometimes it's hard to say whether they are actually helping the company. And for the film producing companies, is about the information should be around the copyright and patent rights. And method should be through face-to-face or email, because it's the most direct method, as I mentioned. And the timing of frequency should be while starting the project. Last but not least is the exhibitor, and the information should be about promotion license copies. The method should be through email or face-to-face. The timing of frequency should be 3 months before the promotion, so that it allows them to have time to prepare, and the center should be promotion team.
Hello again. I'll also be explaining the estimated project duration of the construction of the movie studio, beginning from the start to the end. I've split this into several parts here, with beginning with the approval to the end as the inauguration. To start with, the investors' discussion and approval could take up to 3 to 5 days. Here, the time period is measured in days. The registration can take up to 12 to 14 days, followed by the land and the studio approval, which could take up to 30 to 40 days. Once these approval and the documents are ready, we'll be moving on to the floor plan and the structural design, which could take up to 15 to 30 days in total, followed by the construction, which is 250 to 270 days, which also is a major part of the project duration, as we'll be building a movie studio from scratch. It does take around 250 to 270 days to build a complete studio. Once the outer exterior is ready, we'll be moving on to the interior design layout, which could take up to 12 to 14 days, followed by electricity and water connection, which also again could take up to 12 to 14 days, followed by equipment setup, which could take nearly to 3 to 7 days with the purchase and the setup of the equipment, followed by the inauguration, which could take to 2 days. In total, the total estimated project duration could last from 340 to 390 days. Thank you.
Hello, so my name is Jonathan, and I'll be talking about the estimation of the project budget. So first we have an LLC, which is like a registration or permission, and then we have insurance, camera, and for the next one we got computer, but we choose 4 units of iMac, and then we have lighting kits, IT such as software, Photoshops, elements, and Wi-Fi, and then we have storage, racks, shelves, and etc. And then we have office hardware like aircon, printer, projector, and other. And then we have hardware like table, seating, sound system, and etc. So the total for all these items listed are probably will take up to $77,500, and then these are just the estimation, and approximately around 77,500, but this excludes the land and the building. So to make a decent studio, we might need like $500,000 to $1 million to make a decent studio, but it all depends on the location and the size of the land and size of the building. So for example, in Singapore, the average land price was sold around $7,000 per square meter. So for example, if we need like 100 square meter feet, it will take up to $700,000. So I think that's all from me. Thank you.
We have our team. We would like to say thank you for taking your time and your kindly consideration, and we welcome to receive any feedbacks from you.